Welcome to the Nurture Network podcast, where motherhood meets transformation. I'm Jess Baldenhofer, certified parent coach, educator, and mom on a mission to help you move beyond overwhelm and create a deeper connection with your kids and yourself. Each episode is packed with real tools, relatable stories, and the support you deserve. Let's dive in and take another step toward the peaceful, fulfilling parenting journey you've been searching for. Hi, welcome back to the Nurture Network. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a mom who feels like I should know what to do by now, or why isn't this working? Why isn't my new tactic in parenting working? This episode is for you. Today, I want to talk about something I see all the time with the moms I work with, and honestly, something I've wrestled with in my own parenting journey too: scripts. You know, those neat little phrases we're supposed to say in tough moments, like, I won't let you hit, or it's okay to feel mad, but not okay to hurt, or you can be upset, I'm right here. These are great phrases. They actually really are. But if you're here, chances are you've tried saying the thing and your child still hits or screams or falls apart, or you fall apart, even when you said it right. So, today I want to talk about why scripts can feel helpful and what they actually do give us, why they're not working the way you hope, what's really missing, and what you need instead, and how to have a process, not a perfect phrase, that helps you show up with more clarity, confidence, and connection. Okay, so let's get started. Scripts feel comforting because they fill in the gaps. There are many reasons why scripts are appealing. If you're anything like me, you probably didn't grow up with emotionally fluent parents. You may not have been taught what to say in moments of stress, anger, or conflict, especially with a child whose emotions are very loud. So a script feels like a safety net. It helps us respond instead of react. It helps us honor our child's emotions and set a boundary. And it helps us say something that sounds more like the parent we want to be. Sometimes scripts even give us language rooted in developmental understanding, like reminders that our child's brain isn't fully developed, or that they're not giving us a hard time, but they're having a hard time. In that way, scripts can be a step forward. They're especially helpful when you're just beginning to shift out of old patterns. When you don't know what to say, having something is powerful. But here's where it starts to fall apart. The problem isn't that scripts are bad, it's that parenting challenges are not one dimensional. A script doesn't consider your child's individual temperament, what's going on in your home that week, your own emotional state in the moment, what's happened before the behavior, or whether what you're seeing is even a problem or just a normal developmental phase that's just hard to witness. Let's take a common behavior I hear about: hitting. A mom might say to me, my 4-year-old keeps hitting me. And right away, so many people, which is totally understandable, I've done it too. You go online, you try to find a script. So you say, I won't let you hit. Or you hear someone online saying, just stay calm, set a boundary. Yes, those are important and they're not wrong. It's not that they're bad advice, but here's what I'm actually thinking as a coach. When is the hitting happen? Who is your child hitting? Just you, siblings, other children? Is it happening during transitions? Is it happening during play? What happens right before? What do you do after? Is your child melting down, or is it just a quick impulse? Because my child hitting isn't just one thing. There are dozens of reasons a child might hit, and not one of them gets fully addressed with a one-line response. Maybe your child is dysregulated and needs co-regulation. Maybe they're seeking connection, but they just don't have the skills. Maybe they're testing limits, or maybe they're just completely overwhelmed. And if we don't know what's underneath it, we don't know how to help them learn something new. The truth is, scripts are not really strategies. They don't guide your decision making. They don't help you know why something is happening. They don't teach your child what to do instead or help you hold the boundary when things escalate. They just give you words. And that's why so many parents feel like they're failing. not because they're doing it wrong, but because they're relying on these tools that weren't designed for the specifics of their experience. The other reason scripts fall short is that they imply that there's a right way to handle every situation, that if you just say the right thing, the behavior will stop. But real parenting, it's messy, it's emotional, it's layered, it's personal. Let's go back to the hitting example. Even once we understand why our child is hitting and we've taught them a new skill or offered a different tool, it might not stop right away. And if we expect that it will, we start to feel like nothing I do is working, the script is useless, must be a bad parent. But the real work is in the repetition, it's in the process, it's in the long game of teaching, modeling, co regulating, and staying connected through it all. We can't just skip straight to these silver bullets of resolution. So, this is why I created the Nurture Framework, which is a process I coach moms through inside my groundwork program. It's not just about what to say, it's about learning how to think through the moment without spiraling, freezing, or reacting in a way that feels misaligned. And what it really is a training on a process of inquiry. So it gives you this process where you know now how to look at different situations that are going on with your child, understand what's going on for you, understand what's going on for your child, understanding how to regulate, and understanding and having all of these tools for what to do, what to teach in the moment, how to just regulate yourself if that's what's needed, and how to do a little fire prevention on the other side of things. So, I'm going to walk you through this nurture framework, which I'm really excited to share with you. And hopefully, you can even just start implementing it after listening to this episode. But you can also find out more information about this process on my website, mothernurturecoaching.com. So, N stands for notice the moment. This is where we pause. Instead of reacting, we check in. What's happening right now? What's going on with your child, with you? This step grounds us in presence. And I want to pause here and just bring back my old days at Bank Street, getting my master's degree in education. We spent a lot of time observing children, and it's actually a really amazing exercise where you don't interpret their behavior. You don't try to say, this is why so and so is doing this, but instead you just sit there and sort of objectively observe. Imagine you are a bird looking down from above, you're the fly on the wall. How can you just kind of say, I'm noticing this, my child is doing X, Y, and Z in these moments, and then actually do the same thing for yourself without judgment, without shame, without criticism, just observing. Every time my child doesn't respond to me, I feel a burning in my chest. And again, it's not about interpretation of why yet. It's not about judgment. It's just about observation and even sort of taking mental notes. So then the U stands for understanding the need. Here's where we start to decode the need or the why of what's going on underneath the behavior. What is your child communicating under the surface? What's going on developmentally? What nervous system cues might they be giving you? We get really curious here in understanding, not critical, but really curious. And again, we may not have all the answers to start, but the curiosity is such an important part of the process. I wonder if my child hits me every time I pay attention to their sister. And we'll get to this later, but this doesn't mean like, okay, now that I understand why they're doing this, I'm just going to allow it. Absolutely not. Later on in the process, we're going to get to the parts where we figure out what to do about the situation. But the you is where we're just trying to understand. We're wondering why, we're getting curious about what's going on underneath the behavior. And not just for our children, also for ourselves. My nervous system gets dysregulated every time my child ignores me. What is the need that isn't being met here? And maybe it's just I need to be seen and heard better in my partnership. And then it wouldn't trigger me so much when my child is responding to me this way. So then we have the R. The R is for recentering your role. So this is a really good assessment moment right in the middle of the word nurture where you recenter the role that you have in this situation. So, a lot of times when I coach moms through this, it's about understanding what we can and cannot control. And this is where boundaries kind of come in, right? So, thinking about our boundaries in terms of like, I am going to hold this boundary with my child, but a boundary is not saying like you can't do this or you can't do that, but it is saying if you do this, this is what's going to happen, or we don't allow this behavior. That's also a type of boundary, but it's really important to understand in these moments, where do I need to tend to myself? Where do I need to hold a loving boundary with my child? Where do I need to teach them a new skill? And where do I need to sort of like release my job? A lot of times moms are trying to do all the things in these moments. And sometimes it is about understanding your child developmentally and realizing actually this is a normal child behavior. I might need to teach them a new skill, but if it's triggering me or upsetting me, I need to tend to myself. So, all of that is recentering your role, understanding what your job is in these moments. Okay, so T is for tending to yourself. And this is where we come back to understanding how to regulate your own nervous system, understanding, like, for example, I need at least 30 minutes a day of alone time in order to have enough patience for my child. I'm making that up. But understanding how to tend to yourself on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and then also in these moments with your child. So, tending to your own regulation, your own boundaries, and your own well being. And that shapes your parenting more than anything. This step is about giving yourself what you need so you can give your child what they need. And sometimes in the moments, tending to yourself is saying to your child, you're really frustrated right now. I'm really frustrated. I'm just going to go breathe over here. I'm still here if you need me, but I need to take a little space and breathe and like pause in what we're doing. Okay, so U is the next step, and U stands for updating your approach. Okay, so usually this can kind of come outside the process and saying, okay, now I see this pattern is happening. I see that I'm approaching it in this way. How can I bring in new tools? Not random ones I saw on Instagram, but conscious, aligned strategies that match my values and match my child's unique needs. This is where real change begins, is sort of trying these new approaches, sort of interrupting patterns, trying something different, and really understanding what it is that you're bringing to the table when you are getting into the patterns and the loops with your child, which is more in the T section. And then in you, you're saying, okay, I'm going to try this thing differently to support myself and to support my child in these moments. Okay, so R stands for reflect and repair. Every parent is human. Every parent makes mistakes. Every person makes mistakes. Understanding our own messiness and accepting our own messiness helps us to accept our child's mistakes and messiness. So, what matters more than making mistakes is how we come back from them. So, this step is about reflection, learning, and modeling repair for your child in ways that build safety and trust. Okay, so the last step, E, is embedding new patterns. So this is how change sticks. We take what's working and we make it part of our daily rhythm, turning new insights into real sustainable transformation for your family. So embedding these patterns is really a lot about discipline. And I love the word discipline because it's often so misunderstood and misused, but discipline is just about like regular tending and care and regular sort of mindfulness about why you're doing what you're doing. And we all kind of, now that I'm at the end of explaining this process, I want to say here that we all kind of get out of these loops, right? Of being curious in the way we want to, being observant of our child in the way we want to, and repairing in the way we want to, and tending ourselves in the way we want to, and embedding these positive patterns in the way that we want to. So, what's wonderful about this framework is that it's almost cyclical. You're going to kind of keep coming back to it. You're going to keep going through the process, looking at patterns that you've gotten into with your child that maybe you want to change, and using the process to go back through and revisit some of these things and reset yourself. And also, we're constantly changing and growing and learning. And our children are constantly growing and learning and changing at a very high rate. So, this process is also amazing to keep revisiting every time you get into those sticky spots with your child, because they're going to keep coming up as a child is growing and learning and their brain is literally growing up into the age of 24. We're going to hit so many road bumps with them. And so this process really helps us to kind of get a reset. And through the process, you can become this parent who can really decode what's going on in these situations, respond instead of react, and trust yourself. Know that you are the one empowered in these moments and that you don't need to go outside of yourself so much for advice. Yes, we need support and advice and, you know, even a buildup from the people that make us feel most confident, but we shouldn't have to be so externally seeking answers. And that's the difference really between throwing like spaghetti at the wall in these situations with your child and building a foundation that can actually hold you both. So, this is what we do in my groundwork program. It's my one on one parent coaching experience. It's where we go deep on your story, your values, your pain points, and build a parenting foundation that actually supports the kind of relationship you want with your child. We don't just talk about your child's behavior, we explore what it brings up in you because you matter here too. It's my goal that parents will learn the nurture process, but also really build up compassion and understanding for themselves, find the places where they need more support, need more compassion from the people in their lives, from themselves. And we unpack your expectations around motherhood, your expectations around your child's behavior, your own patterns, your nervous system. We get clear on what kind of parent you want to be, and we make sure your actions reflect that vision. And then we create a custom process that you can return to again and again, whether your child is refusing to get dressed, hitting you, or melting down in the middle of Target. This isn't a quick fix. It's the groundwork for long term change for your long term relationship with your child and yourself. And it is powerful. So, right now, the first 5 moms who join Groundwork will also get a free lifetime access to the Jai Institute for Parenting's Transformational Parenting course. This is the foundation of the peaceful parenting content that I was trained on when I was trained to be a coach by the Jai Institute for Parenting. And it is amazing content. You will get a full education on so many aspects of parenting, of attachment science, of brain science, of um, nonviolent communication. There is so much there that really blew my mind open around parenting. So, if you've been wondering, why doesn't this get easier? Why do I still feel stuck? Why do I lose my cool even when I know what to say? Come explore Groundwork. You can set up a free call with me and we can see if it's what fits for you. You do not need a new script. You need a new way of seeing and responding to what's happening with your child and with yourself. The link for more information on the nurture process and the groundwork program is in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. You're doing amazing work, and I'm here for you. Thanks for listening to the Nurture Network. If this episode resonated with you, subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Share it with a fellow mom who might need it too. Until next time, remember that nurturing yourself is the first step in nurturing your family.